गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतस्य श्रीमद His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravindha Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON and Beauty Founder Acharya Savior of the whole world Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Leela Pravishta Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajagacharya Ashtottara Shadasya Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय ब्रजभूमि वृंदावन धाम की जय नवदीप मायापुर धाम की जय पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय द्वारकापुरी धाम की जय अयोध्यापुरी धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय तुलसी महारानी की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय इस्कॉन वर्तमान आचार्य वृंद के जय श्री श्री राधा पार्थ सारथी ललिता विशाखा की जय श्री श्री गौरनिताय की जय श्री श्री सीताराम लक्ष्मण हनुमान की जय श्री श्री प्रहलाद नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय निता निताय गौर सीतानाथ प्रेमानंदे हरि 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 बोल. All glories to the assembly Lord Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembly Lord Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembly Lord Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Bahyam Dadadi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Udapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangcha Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhana Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pankum Langhaide Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Hare Krishna. Welcome you all to this morning class on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we'll be reading from the 4th Canto, chapter 28, verse number 44. I seek the permission and blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas present here, that I may speak before you only those words which are as per the Guru Parampara, and they be for my purification and your pleasure. Chiravasa vratakshama Veni bhuta shiroruha Babhavupapatim shanta Shikha shantam ivanalam Chiravasa vratakshama Veni bhuta shiroruha Babhav upapatim shanta Shikha shantam ivanalam Chiravasa vratakshama Chiravasa vratakshama Veni bhuta shiroruha Babhavupapatim shanta Shikha shantam ivanalam Chiravasa vratakshama Veni bhuta shiroruha Babhavupapatim shanta Shikha shantam ivanalam. Chiravasa vratakshama Vedibhuta shiroruha Babhavupapadim shanta Shikashantam ivanalam Chiravasa vratakshama Venibhuta shiroruha Bhavavupapatim shanta Shikashantam ivanalam. Someone else? Vaishnavis, mothers? Someone else? Okay, thank you. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Chiravasa, wearing old garments. Vratakshama, lean and thin on account of austerities. Veni bhuta, entangled. Shiroruha, her hair. Babhau, she shone. Upapatim, near the husband. Shanta, peaceful. Shikha, flames. Shantam, without being agitated. Iva, like. Analam, fire. Translation, kindly repeat this translation after me. The daughter of King Vidarbha wore old garments, and she was lean and thin because of her vows of austerity. Since she did not arrange her hair, it became entangled and twisted in locks. Although she remained always near her husband, she was as silent and unagitated as the flame of an undisturbed fire. Can you listen intently to these transcendental ecstasies of His Divine Grace from His Bhaktivedanta purports? When one begins to burn firewood, there is smoke and agitation in the beginning. Although there are so many disturbances in the beginning, once the fire is completely set, the firewood burns steadily. Similarly, when both husband and wife follow the regulative principles of austerity, they remain silent and are not agitated by sex impulses. At such a time, both husband and wife are benefited spiritually. One can attain this stage of life by completely giving up a luxurious mode of life. In this verse, the word Chiravasa refers to very old torn garments. The wife especially should remain austere, not desiring luxurious dresses and living standards. She should accept only the bare necessities of life and minimize her eating and sleeping. There should be no question of mating. Simply by engaging in the service of her exalted husband, who must be a pure devotee, the wife will never be agitated by sex impulses. The Vanaprastha stage is exactly like this. Although the wife remains with the husband, she undergoes severe austerities and penances, so that although both husband and wife live together, there is no question of sex. In this way, both husband and wife can live together perpetually. Since the wife is weaker than the husband, this weakness is expressed in this verse with the verse upapatim. Upa means near to or almost equal to. Being a man, the husband is generally more advanced than his wife. Nonetheless, the wife is expected to give up all luxurious habits. She should not even dress nicely or comb her hair. Hair combing is one of the main businesses of women. In the Vanaprastha stage, the wife should not take care of her hair. Thus, her hair will become tangled in knots. Consequently, the wife will no longer be attractive to the husband, and she herself will no longer be agitated by sex impulses. In this way, both husband and wife can advance in spiritual consciousness. This advanced stage is called the Paramahamsa stage. And once it is obtained, both husband and wife can actually be liberated from bodily consciousness. If the disciple remains steady in the service of the spiritual master, he need no longer fear falling down into the clutches of Maya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for joining us in this wonderful purport journey of Srila Bhaktivedanta purports. There are three key points that I wish to highlight today from today's lecture, from today's Bhaktivedanta purports. That is, one, giving up a luxurious lifestyle. That's one point. Second point is austerity, which means going against the comfort zone. And the third point, respecting the superior. Who can recollect this? What are the 3 points? Just please raise your hands and repeat after me. Not repeat after me. Repeat what I said earlier. Who remembers? Yes. Giving up a luxury lifestyle. What's the second one? Something else? Somebody else can say? Yes. Yeah. What is austerity? We just mentioned here. Going against the comfort zone. And the third point? Respecting the superior. These are the 3 points I wish to focus on today. We see that Srila Prabhupada talks about how luxurious lifestyle should be given up. That is austerity. So the first and second points are leading one into another. But devotees, we can see, under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, can actually engage in luxury in Krishna's service. This is Yukta Vairagya. Even luxury can be engaged in Krishna's service. A classic example of so many ISKCON senior devotees who actually take a flight to go from one country to another or one place to another to save on traveling time so that it can be used completely in Krishna's service. Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, my revered spiritual master, uses the phrase jet age sadhus. He calls them jet age sadhus because they're flying essentially for preaching. We can even see from our own ashram, His Grace Jitamitra Prabhu's example. When he travels to Mayapur also, he takes a flight in the morning, goes there, has darshan, comes back with the evening flight in order to attend Mangalarati the next morning. So in one sense, he's using luxury in order to maintain his vow of austerity, of attending Mangalarati at Sri Radha Parthasarathi. So this is Yukta Vairagya. These are examples of Yukta Vairagya. We could see even in ISKCON society, His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu, the initiating guru and Srila Prabhupada disciple, He is known across the world for his internet preaching. The ecstatic road back to Godhead and stuff like that. He preaches substantially on the internet. There's a lot of preaching that's happening on the internet. Otherwise, internet is Maya. Otherwise, flying is Maya. Even crossing the seas is Maya. But when it is used in Krishna's service under the guidance of an expert spiritual master, it is Maya, but it is Yoga Maya, because it's used in Krishna's service. There is another example of a very senior devotee in ISKCON. His name is His Grace Bhakta Rupa Prabhu. He is a secretary for ISKCON's bureau, which is legally ISKCON. Legally ISKCON is registered in Mumbai. There is only one ISKCON. ISKCON Delhi is a branch of ISKCON. ISKCON Juhu is also a branch of ISKCON. ISKCON Chowpatty is ISKCON Khargar, where you are coming from. That is also a branch of ISKCON. So these are branches of ISKCON, which is registered in Mumbai. And the chairman of ISKCON is ISKCON India, which is what we are talking about, is His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. And the original chairman, founder chairman was Srila Prabhupada. And the secretary, general secretary, is His Grace Bhaktarupa Prabhu. So His Grace Bhaktarupa Prabhu, I had a personal experience that whatever mail I sent him on the internet, whatever internet mail I sent him, max of 12 hours or so is all he takes to reply to it, however complicated the matter will be. And if it's very complicated, he will say, let me study this, I'll get back to you. Excellent communication. And good communication means half the battle's won. When we have good communication skills, we create less misunderstandings with other people. We create less offenses for ourselves and others. We don't agitate other people. Here, talking about agitation, especially between husband and wife. One agitation is based on the sex impulses. Another agitation is actually based on the communication they have with each other, husband and wife. One of the austerities of the mind is anudveka karam vakyam, satyam priya hitam chaya. To use words that are not agitating, they're beneficial, and they're truthful. So, this communication is a very essential aspect, and I just gave the example of His Grace Bhaktarupa Prabhu, who uses luxury in Krishna service. He is on the net, but he instantly replies. He uses the net to ensure that the society and its interests are managed effectively. The interests of Srila Prabhupada's properties are protected effectively. For that he uses communication. For that he uses luxury. So a luxurious lifestyle per se is not a problem. Nirbandha, Krishna sambandhe. It has to be connected to Krishna. Then it ceases to be luxury. We know of His Grace Vedvyas Prabhu. He has a house right in Punjabi Bagh. If he wants, he can go there for Mangala Arati. He has a car and he has a driver. Of course, now he is unwell, so he is not able to make it here every day. But he travels every day normally from Punjabi Bagh to east of Kailash to have Mangala Arati of Sri Radha Parthasarthi. He is using his luxury of having a car to good effect, and he drives down himself. So that is his austerity. And all the way. So using a luxurious lifestyle in Krishna's service is pretty much possible. It's Yukta Vairagya. But there are many senior sannyasis in ISKCON who have 2 phones. Why? There are 2 reasons. One, after the advent of several communication changes in recent India, there are some service providers which work better in some service areas. So they keep phones which are commonly available in all areas. So the communication doesn't stop. So they can stay in touch with the society matters. They can stay in touch with the disciples, the counselees, etc. 2, there is so much communication happening that sometimes one phone is not enough. They are on the phone and the second phone comes and the secretary has to take it. Travel personally with His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj to Vrindavan. And in the 1.5 hour journey, he must have attended no less than 25 phone calls. Could be anything from counseling a disciple who is in difficulty, to managing a crucial dispute in some congregation, to looking at something very legal, to calling up some VIP, everything. And at the same time, his secretary is simultaneously receiving phone calls on the other phone from other devotees. So this is using luxurious lifestyle also in Krishna service. Yukta Vairagya. But apart from that, devotees should generally be practicing austerity, which is the second point. Does anybody remember what Srila Prabhupada's definition of austerity is as per the scripture in Bhagavad Gita? Who can remember? Please raise your hand. Who can say? Please raise your hand and answer. Shri Radhapad Sarita Lalita Vishakha ki jai. Shri Gauranitai, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Shri Plana Narasimha Dev ki jai. Who can remember what is the definition of austerity as per Bhagavad Gita? Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport. Yes, Anadi Keshav Prabhu. Today is your day. To voluntarily accept some difficulty. Like Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport to Matra Sparshasthu Kauntaya verse, he says that for mothers to cook in the hot stove is as it is difficult. But even in summer, they continue that austerity of cooking. They don't compromise. Or sadhus, sometimes they get up in the morning in winters and take bath in or bathe in cold water. So this is an example of austerity, voluntarily accepting some difficulty or maintaining penances or vows that we do on Ekadashi, or some devotees observe Nirjala, or simply chanting more rounds. That's an austerity because we are not used to chanting the holy name. For many of us, austerity means going against swabhava, our swabhava. Our swabhava is what it is because we don't know who we are. Swabhava is accurate only when we know who we are. The self, swabhava, the mood of the same person, mood of the self. So that is a nature of a person. Sometimes it's called second nature. It is somebody's second nature, meaning it's very natural to that person. But what this means for devotees in ISKCON is something like this. For a preacher, austerity is management. I personally know of His Grace Mohandupa Prabhu, with whom I am associated with for the last 17 years in various capacities. As his assistant or somewhere in some cases as his reportee, sometimes as his consultant from ISKCON Legal, etc. I've seen that he keeps saying that I'm not interested in management, I'm not interested in management. But His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj has kept him as the temple president for the last 12 years. Nothing surprising, is it? Not even a Haribol. That's because even if somebody is not going as per his nature, to perform something for the pleasure of the spiritual master is an austerity. Sometimes we have to go completely against the grain. In English, there is a usage, against the grain. Going against the grain. It means you're swimming against the tide. It's going against our swabhava. I still remember another example. I was in Sridhar Mayapur a few years back, and His Grace Raghav Pandit Prabhu was there. He was there preparing for his Bhakti Shastri papers. It took about 10 to 12 days. Every day he would answer one open book test. OBA, open book assessment. Every day he would fill up one thing and submit it. And he says that I don't read much. He says I don't study much. I'm not regularly into studies. He's personally told me this. But I was completely shocked to see how he could actually do it, because he was asked to apply for sannyas, he was asked to apply for Bhakti Shastri, and for that he took the austerity. For him, in 10, 12 days to complete so many papers is an austerity. And it is going against his swabhava, because he claims he doesn't read, although I don't know, he may be reading, because he's preaching in the West also. So this is going against swabhava. I heard from His Grace Radhesham Prabhu in a brahmachari lecture here in our temple. He said something about menial service. Does anybody remember what that is? Was someone there in that class? Okay, it says that menial service, which is an austerity, menial service, is doing something that is against our nature. For a pujari, it may be performing arati is not a big issue. Preparing for an arati is not a big issue. But for a pujari to deliver a lecture would be major austerity. Or for a cook to actually go and lead kirtan, maybe an austerity. Sometimes it may be an austerity for the listeners also. But it's an austerity. And so this is menial service. Menial service or austerity is to go something else completely our nature. So a service that we are not comfortable with. Or for a brahmachari, it could be prasadam service when you are hungry. You're completely hungry. You had your last prasadam at 5:30 p.m. the previous day. And the next morning, prasadam service is at 9:15. And it is an austerity when somebody tells you, please serve prasadam. Because you want to just sit down and honor prasadam. Or offering obeisances to a person who does not like you. That's the most difficult thing. To offer obeisances to a person who does not like you and actually say, Vancha kalpa tarubhyasya to that person. Otherwise, Prabhupada says it is gymnastics, it is push-ups. If you were to say Vancha kalpa from the heart, that is austerity. His Holiness Janardhan Maharaj personally told me, standing somewhere there, he just said that if you really want to develop humility, go serve somebody you don't like. I haven't had that opportunity so far, but I'm hoping to get that opportunity sometime. That we should go and serve somebody who doesn't like us, which is the main thing. That is the real austerity. And for many of us, to not sleep in Japa and Bhagavatam class is an austerity. I don't remember when was the last time I sat in a Bhagavatam class on the other side. I've always been standing in Bhagavatam class because I can't sit and stay awake. It is so much easier to stay awake when you're giving class. When you're listening, it's very difficult. Similar to not fall asleep during japa, major austerity. Jadya, avidya, audasinya. These are the problems that we face while we are chanting japa. To go against them and continue chanting. Like Srila Satswarup Maharaj talks about the struggle being the process in japa reform. I think it's about the 5th time I've said this in a class. But the struggle is the process. So that is the austerity. And above all, whether it is brahmachari ashram or grahastha ashram, to tolerate each other's anarthas is an austerity. We may not be able to love each other immediately as brothers or God brothers or in case of grahasthas as husband wife. But we can tolerate each other's anarthas. ISKCON Congregation Ministry has brought out a book called The Third Partner. I've recommended it to several of my God brothers who got married. The third partner, which is there is husband, there is wife, and there is Krishna as the third partner. So, the aspect is that for the sake of Krishna, we tolerate each other. That is austerity. Austerity of the mind involves tolerating each other. For grihasthas, to be humble with each other and treat the other like a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi, that is an austerity. Because for the husband, it will always look like somebody who is junior to me, who is of the weaker sex or weaker gender. For the wife, it's no big deal. We are equals. His Grace Sridhama Prabhu, who came here and conducted a counseling seminar long back, mentioned in his lecture that the biggest problem in Grahastha Ashram is that the wife is the husband's first equal. So that has to be accepted effectively, yet to respect each other. But what scripture says, that the husband is performing the role of a guru. So the wife has to be submissive to the husband. If the husband is caring, not scaring, caring. Husband is caring, wife is submissive. And submissive doesn't mean becoming a doormat. Submissive means to simply understand the mood of the husband and act accordingly. It is easier to conquer somebody by service than by control. Please tell me, if somebody asks you, may I help you? Would you be more happy? Or if somebody tells you, do it, you'll be more happy. So it's natural. It's sometimes confusing who is controlling whom in Grihastha ashram. The husband may actually think he is controlling the wife, but it's actually the wife who actually is controlling the husband by service. And it is not even surprising, our own Supreme Personality of Godhead is controlled by his devotees. Aham bhakta paradina. Service can control. So if really husband and wife want to control each other in Grihastha ashram, they have to serve each other. Because the first quality or the first stream of knowledge that is mentioned in the 13th chapter, 8th verse is amanitvam. Amanitvam and adambitvam, both are very similar. This is again something that I have mentioned in several classes before. Krishna, why does he have to mention humility and pridelessness separately? Because they are so essential to our life, to maintaining our position in the ashram. The husband and wife have to be therefore humble with each other. That is their austerity. Actually, the Western concepts have got into our mind. Liberty, equality, fraternity, which came from the French Revolution. So it is fashionable to call, hey, Haribol. The husband calls the wife Haribol. The wife also calls the husband Haribol. Have you observed this in ISKCON? It's very common. I remember when I was comparing a lecture in Gurugram long back. I was comparing. Somebody else was. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj was delivering the lecture. Your Gurudev, Krishna Kirti Prabhu. He was delivering the lecture. And I announced at the end of it, I said this before in a class here. Just said, please welcome His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj by chanting Hari Bol. So he heard and they said, come here. He said, the Guru can make the disciple chant Hari. So Guru can actually say Hari Bol. So this Hare Krishna movement should stop becoming the Hari Bol movement. And that includes all ashrams, Brahmacharya ashram, Grihastha ashram, etc. I remember some of my dear friends in the ashram, we call each other sometimes by first name. It's not good, it's Maryada Vetikram. I myself do this mistake and I apologize before everyone for this mistake. Some of the people who joined after me in this movement, I call them by first name. Like Pitambar or Parmahams. Not Panchajanya. It's not etiquette. Srila Prabhupada introduced the word Prabhu. It's so difficult for us to use the word Prabhu. Even when we say Prabhu, it is like a joke. Prabhuji, it need not be. Srila Prabhupada introduced the word Prabhu because it has to be, that respect has to be brought in with each other. Mutual respect. We may not be able to love each other, but we may be able to respect each other, tolerate each other. That's very, very essential. Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj mentioned that if I get any chance now, I'd like to teach Dharma in ISKCON. Dharma. What is Dharma? Simple little things. A Prabhu who comes to the temple, Vaishnavas, actually wearing dhoti kurta. When they go to office, they don't wear dhoti kurta. So why should they wear shirts and trousers to the temple if they're initiated or if they're chanting 16 rounds or they're regularly practicing Krishna consciousness? One dharma, for example. Exceptions cannot make the rule. I cannot say that I work for a call center, I come at 4:30, I may not find exception. Doesn't happen with everyone. His Grace Sarvabhaum Prabhu mentioned in a lecture that you wear dhoti kurta at home, go to office in shirts and trousers, come back at home, change to dhoti kurta. So that's your natural dress. What you're wearing to office is your uniform. Similarly for mothers in ISKCON, wearing sari all the time, maybe in austerity, but it is dharma. Or covering their head, which is a Vedic concept. Or for men who are actively practicing devotees to at least shave their head once a month or twice a month, which is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada mandated. At least. It's dharma. Or not just hanging around each other, holding hands. This is stuff, I'm just quoting Srila Jayapataka Maharaj. These kind of things are Western concepts that have got into our mind. To maintain a Vaishnava lifestyle in ISKCON is an austerity. Because it is going against our comfort zone. Generally, men are stronger physically. Although mentally we think women are stronger sometimes. Because they have to tolerate more pain in a whole life. Men don't have to deliver children. There's a lot of strength required to deliver children. So it is a matter of debate who is stronger physically. And men are generally older in the Vedic culture. Marriages, I remember my maternal grandfather was 14 and my maternal grandmother was 8 years old when they got married. So they waited for her to attain puberty or whatever, and then she went to the husband's house. So by default, when the husband is older than the wife, it is natural for the wife to respect the husband. Western concepts are for equals to get married. Wife who is older than the husband to get married to the husband who is younger than her. These are Western concepts. Because of that, it is natural for us to develop this concept of equality. False equality. Men and women cannot be equal. Apples and oranges cannot be equal. Apples are apples, oranges are oranges. There is no need to compare themselves. Men are happy being men, women are happy being women. There is no point in saying they have to be equal. They're different. A mic cannot be same as a laptop. Mic is performing its function, a laptop is performing its function. Both are required. Both have a certain function. So one has to tolerate the other to the best possible extent. And tolerate the other person's anarthas. Now for a vanaprastha, what is the austerity? For a vanaprastha, simply sense control is a major austerity. Sense control is a substantial austerity. To give up all those sense enjoyments which you have been exposed to in bachelor life and in householder life. I'm not saying brahmacharya and grahastha. Those sense enjoyment or those tools of sense enjoyment that you've been exposed to in bachelor life or householder life, to not be attracted to those objects of sense enjoyment is an austerity for a vanaprastha. For the sannyasi, there's an open war with Maya. Srila Prabhupada mentioned this, and several senior sannyasis have mentioned this. It is an open war with Maya. Look at the sannyasi who's actually in his heart saying, Trinadapi Sunichena, I am servant of servant. Aham tarishyami duranda param. It just says the etams astadya paratmanishtam. Those who are paratmanishtas, a sannyasi actually chants the sannyas mantra. Those who are actually pure devotee of the Lord. Adhyasitam purvatamam maharshibi. I'm following those people who have served the Lord and I'm following their footsteps. At the same time, a sannyasi or a guru has to accept service from juniors, so to say. It is self-aggrandizement for a sannyasi. So for him, the austerity is sometimes to actually accept the service. You can see actually how Srila Prabhupada mentioned that all of you are actually sent by my spiritual master to help me in preaching. One sense, Srila Prabhupada said, all of you are my spiritual masters. Even Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said this. So that is an austerity for a sannyasi. I particularly remember a personal conversation with my spiritual master, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, in his quarters. When I mentioned this before here again, I got sentimental over something. Just said, Guru Maharaj, I just want to please you. So Maharaj said, don't try to please me, try to please Prabhupada. And there was nobody in the room. Nobody else in the room. He could have easily said, okay, keep trying or something. He said, try to please Prabhupada, don't try to please me. So, it is great austerity for a sannyasi to accept respect, honor and service from people who are junior to him. Still they are doing it as a service. So that is an austerity for them. For any senior Vaishnava to accept service from people like us is an austerity. They're doing it for our purification. They tolerate our anarthas. Coming to one more point, to conclude this point of austerity, is that We mention about menial service and giving up luxury, which are both austerities. But one way to improve relationships in whichever ashram we are is to serve in a different area. It will help us empathize with the other person's difficulty. Going to the altar every morning or once in a while will make us understand how difficult it is to serve as a pujari. It is nice to find fault with pujaris. They are doing this, they are doing that, they are not doing this, they are not doing that. But once you go to the altar, we can see the difficulties and then we can empathize with them better. Or we can say life membership preachers are like this, life membership preachers are like that. Try to go and get 1 rupee from the market. It's so difficult. Nobody wants to give money, especially they don't want to give money to anybody, leave alone to a charitable organization. Because Prayana Alpaisha Kalo Asmin Yugetana, Manda Sumanda Mate Manda Bhagya. Everybody is Manda Bhagya. They don't have enough good fortune to serve sadhus or to serve Krishna. In such a time, to actually go out and raise funds for Krishna is so difficult, it's austere. When we go out and do it, then we will know how difficult it is. So therefore, it is important for us to serve in an area that is different from ours, to develop empathy for the other person. And therefore, it will become less austere for us to be austere. To become austere is a very austere thing. It becomes easier for us to practice that austerity of becoming austere by serving in an area of another person, or job rotation, what they call in the corporate world. To keep trying, we should all keep trying to serve in other areas. For some time we should assist Ajit Govind Prabhu in coming out with a book on value education. Then we'll know how difficult it is to preach to schools. You're welcome to please try out ISKCON Legal for the next 1 year. I'm more than happy to give it up to somebody. I'm just saying that it's important for you to serve in other person's area to understand and develop an empathy. Otherwise, it's very easy to pass judgment. And the very simple rule in Krishna consciousness is never prescribe without diagnosis. Never prescribe without diagnosis. To diagnose something, we need to have some understanding of that. Therefore, we should perform that function once before we do it. Before we look at someone doing that service. So that is austerity. Coming to the third point, which is Vishrambhena Guror Sevaya. Serving the Guru, spiritual master, or serving and respecting the superiors. This is a case where Malaya Dvaja is being served by Vaidarbhi, who was Puranjana. So, serving the husband is similar to a disciple serving the Guru or respecting the superior. The example comes of Devahuti and Kardama Muni in the 3rd canto, where she never felt herself qualified to ask for any favor from her husband. She continued serving her husband in such an austere way, just like this. Chira Vasa, Vratakshama, all these things that are mentioned. She was wearing, she was not worried about how she looked like. She did not try to look attractive even to her husband or to anyone. She was not decorating her hair nicely. Devahuti's example is very similar. And finally, when Kardama Muni was pleased with her and he was overcome with affection for her austerity, seeing how weak she has become, then he asked her, how can I help you? How can I make you happy? And then she said, I would like to have, very shyly and with a lot of respect, Vishrambhena Gauravena. These are 2 things that are required to deal with superiors. One is with intimacy and the other is with respect. Which is why one of the qualities that Srila Rupa Goswami mentions in serving a spiritual master is Vishrambhena Guror Sevaya. There should be intimacy and respect. Guror Hitam. If you are a brahmachari and you have to perform in the brahmachari ashram, Guror Hitam. You will need to have intimacy with the spiritual master. He cannot just be a kripa generating machine. the spiritual master. He is, but we should not treat him like that. There should be some intimacy. How can I please him more? How can I make him happy? Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. Srila Prabhupada quotes this example. So we should try to develop that intimacy with the spiritual master and with our seniors also, without violating maryada, as they say. There should be no maryada vyatikrama, and yet we should have that intimacy with our seniors. There should also be reverence. There should be respect in dealing with seniors. I remember one of my mentors guiding me once by saying that you should keep a respectful distance from seniors and juniors. I don't do it so much, but I'm trying to develop that ability. That we should be a respectful distance from seniors and juniors. Now, in ISKCON, there is this thought in devotional life also that there are seniors, equals and juniors. As far as junior is concerned, he should consider the other person as senior. But the senior should never consider the relationship of a junior. He should only consider equals. There are seniors and equals. It's far safer. Because we don't know who is the junior. There is junior, but I don't know if I'm junior to you. Maybe you're more advanced than me. Why should I consider you my junior? I should look at senior and equal as legitimate relationships. Then we can develop respect for each other. With equals, there will be some respect. And Vishrambena Gauravena, it can happen. Contrast this with the way Aditi tried to have a child. Kapila Dev was born and the entire universe was populated by the children of Kardama and Devahuti. It was like a Prajapati effectively. But when Diti pushed Kashyapa at an inopportune moment to impregnate her, not trying to please him effectively, but by pushing him, then the result was Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So if we try to please the spiritual master with intimacy and with reverence, we will get mercy, we will get devotion. Like Kardama Muni granted devotion and all Purusharthas to Devahuti, it is mentioned. Similarly, the spiritual master will give us all that is required for us to serve Krishna better. And also Krishna, he will give us Krishna and all that is required to serve Krishna. That way, I want to conclude by saying that Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the last line, if the disciple remains steady in the service of the spiritual master, he need no longer fear falling down into the clutches of Maya. So that is the advantage of practicing austerity, giving up a luxurious lifestyle, and serving the spiritual master and superiors with reverence and intimacy. And Srila Prabhupada mentions in the third canto, a sincere servant or disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously, simply by serving sincerely. It's a tongue twister. Simply by serving sincerely. You can try to say that. Simply by serving sincerely. Say that. Simply by serving sincerely the spiritual master. And that is what Jiva Goswami says, that Haro Rushte Gurustratam Guru Rushtena Kaschana Tasmad Evam Prayatnena Gurum Eva Prasadayat. Every single endeavor should be to please the spiritual master. Or in the case of the wife, the husband. Hare Krishna. Questions, comments? Somebody, yes, Prabhuji. A mic has to go to him, Prabhuji. Somebody can reach a mic to His Grace Krishna Kirti Prabhu. You want to speak in English or Hindi? You could start the question, maybe we can save time. I don't think it's switched on. Yeah. That was me. Can someone, please, mothers, can you keep quiet? Yeah, I know that.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Behind every successful man, there is his wife.
तो एक उदाहरण है कि आप बताया है कि ये ज़्यादा उदाहरण का तपस्या है. तो फिर एक और उदाहरण मैं देता हूँ कि हम देखते हैं कि ये पति पत्नी ये झगड़ा करते हैं. तो फिर ये एक और तपस्या है कि ये पत्नी बोलते हैं ये शट अप प्रभु,
शट अप प्रभु,
शट अप प्रभु, और ये पति भी ये जबरदस्ती करते हैं. तो फिर ये वास्तव तपस्या है भी ये यद्यपि ये झगड़ा करते हैं और ये जबरदस्ती करते हैं, लेकिन हमारे स्वकर्मा भी करते हैं. So very important, we keep doing our austerity, despite this. This is also austerity. और ये तपस्या ये हमारी स्वभाव का पालन होता है. It's because it's according to our swabhava. So we have to do this. जैसा ये
Shreyan swadharma viguna paradharma bhayavah.
Shreyan swadharma viguna paradharma svanustatat. So it's better to do, our own duties rather than someone else's perfectly. और मेरा प्रश्न एक और प्रश्न है कि हम देखते हैं कि धर्म और भक्ति तुल्य दिखते हैं. तो फिर ये मेरा प्रश्न है कि भक्ति और धर्म कैसे तुल्य है और ये उसके बीच में ये फर्क क्या है?
Prabhuji's question, this is very ironical in Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON, that a person from the West is asking a question in Hindi and a person from India is answering in English. So, somebody can translate in Hindi this question. I hope you're already translating, Ras Raghunath Prabhu. Prabhuji's question is, can we really say that dharma and bhakti are tulya, and to what extent they are? If so, so the fact is that after initiating 40,000-45,000 devotees into Krishna consciousness, if Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj is actually saying that I would like to teach dharma, it means that although savai pumsam paro dharma yatho bhakti ratokshije, although devotion is the topmost dharma, it is the pancham purushartha, or it is paramartha, it is not purushartha, it is paramartha. Yet, devotees have a tendency, under the guise of performing devotion, to forget conventional dharma. Srila Prabhupada used to say devotees should be ladies and gentlemen. Dharma involves following all those activities of Shastra which help us at least stay in a certain level of social acceptance, moral acceptance, ethical acceptance, and at the same time, it helps us escape sinful habits which can creep in because of not following dharma under the guise of being a Bhagavata or somebody following devotion. So this is one issue, which means it guards us from complacency. Dharma is a minimum qualification for someone who is practicing devotion. Except one person who has reached a stage of Mahabhagavata, there is no obligation to follow this kind of dharmas. Like Madhavendra Puri says, I'm sorry, O Snana, O Sandhya Vandana, I'm not able to perform you because I don't have time. I'm worshipping Krishna fully. Till the time we reach a level of a Mahabhagavata or an Uttama Adhikari, it is very, very important. Just like Krishna says that, Name karmane limpanti trishulokeshu kinchana. There is no karma that is binding me in the world. Yet I perform to set an example. Yadyad acharati shreshta tattadeva itaro jana. Just like Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, whenever he passes through the security gate, he makes the security people frisk him. It is an etiquette which he does so that other people follow. This is one aspect. Second thing is dharma also requires us to follow varnashram dharma, which is meant for gradual purification to come to the point of pure devotion. Because varnashram dharma is required for each one of us to purify ourselves. That is why we are made to do deity worship. Otherwise we can all sit and chant 64 rounds. It will be far easier. Performing deity worship, studying shastra, all these these are catalysts, or performance of dharma is a catalyst for bhakti. And if bhakti is there, jnana and vairagya by default come. Jnana and vairagya, as you know, are parts of dharma, essential aspects of dharma. So, dharma swanishtita pumsam vishvakseno kathasuya na utpade yadiratim shrama eve kevalam. That dharma which does not by itself lead us into devotion is futile, is useless. However, dharma which is performed for the sake of making us stronger in following the principles of devotion and to get us closer to Krishna has to be followed. So they are complementary, and you could say dharma is somewhat supplementary to the pure devotee. But for the sadhaka, it is most essential aspect. It is a most essential aspect of devotion, because you cannot perform bhakti and say that I will perform adharma. It is illogical. I hope we can continue this discussion, but I think to summarize, there are two principles. One is that it's a bare minimum requirement for somebody following bhakti to follow dharma. And performing dharma does not necessarily mean you are performing bhakti unless it is getting you closer to Krishna through your dharma. And varnashram dharma or any other social dharma is to be performed to gradually elevate us to Krishna consciousness. So that is the requirement of dharma in bhakti. Thank you.
Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.